Good day and welcome to Predators Proclivity, where we look at data from the season for the NHL Nashville Predators and make comments upon it. I'm your host, Preston Proctor. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope it's a happy Thanksgiving in Preds land. We've got two road games, Wednesday and Friday. Oh, better check the time before... Gosh, that game next week, that 8:30 game really sent me for a loop. Well, these games are away, so I guess it doesn't make too big a difference. Both of these games are at 7 o'clock local time, so 6 o'clock Central tonight for Detroit, and then 7 o'clock Central for Chicago. The Chicago Blackhawks. Fun fact, Blackhawks used to be two words. So I'm going to cover both of these, not just because they're road, and that way I only have to talk about road stats once. Actually, I get blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. So last week I was doing overall stats, and then I was doing scenario-specific stats, and I think that actually wound up better, because it seemed to be more accurately portraying the game with Colorado, which I don't know about that thing with Florida, but that Florida game, I don't know. But the good news is, this I don't have up. I knew there would be something. I'd get in here. Hello? Is my computer going to work for me today? Oh, yeah. And instead of getting one new tab, I just got four. What did I see the other day? Barry Trotsch goes on the record saying that he's not going to fire Andrew Brunette, believing the current state of the team is not the coach's fault. Ergo, Andrew Brunette's going to get fired. It seems like every time you see this where the general manager says, hey, we're not firing the coach, you know what they do? They fire the coach. You can still say it's not Andrew Brunette's fault, but he's obviously not getting out of the team what the team is capable of. I'm not calling for him to be fired. I'm just saying this is 2 seasons of really bad hockey, and it's not like the Preds haven't spent money and brought people in. And, these guys like Marchessault, Skay, and Stamkos, this is their second year here. There's no excuse for them playing so poorly. None. So, it's one of those things where, when they score 3 goals on a goaltender and they put in the backup, it's not necessarily the issue that the starting goaltender had a problem. But obviously, they need to shake the team up a little bit, and so they swap the goaltenders out and try to get the team motivated around that. Sometimes the guy isn't playing well, and they pull him. But often it's just it's a way of trying to shake up the players and to get their head in a different space. And I'll get into this a little bit later. I couldn't help it. I had to look at the way things looked at last year, and. Last year everybody wanted to blame the 5-game start, but I think, as I said, the last year, if you look at 2 years ago and you look at the start that the Edmonton Oilers had, they didn't lose their first 5 games, but they had a really poor record after about 8 games. I mean, they were like, I don't know, 2-6 or something like that. But they didn't lose 5 in a row to start the season, but they still did not have the type of start to the season that you go, hey, this team's going to make the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, the Preds don't have the little thumb on the scale that Edmonton did that year. But that being the case, still, where they're at doesn't mean they can't get there. It just means that they're going to have to start playing better at some point. And what it takes to get to that point, I don't know. But anyway, so long story short, the talking about the situational situation of that game, talking about home stats for Nashville and road stats for Colorado, really, I think, seemed to be able to get more of the flavor of what we were going to see in that game. And so, and we're far enough into this schedule that, what have we got here? The Preds have played 22 games. The minimum is 21, and other teams have played 23. Nobody's played 24. Oh, Calgary has played 24. Oh, yeah, Calgary, 24. Edmonton has played 25. So, 82 games in the season, we're a quarter of the way in, and I think not all teams have played the same number of games on the road or at home, but we can accommodate that by looking at the averages, and so I think that's more representative. And when I started doing that yesterday for these upcoming games, I actually kind of got a little bit more optimistic than I had been. Just looking at the record, just what are you going to say, and looking at this overall stats for being on the road. But, I think so. Really long story short. So when I get to the stats, a lot of them are, and I'll call it out, a lot of them are going to be specific to the scenario of these two teams that we're playing being at home and the Preds being on the road. And like I said, I actually saw now you expect to see some bad ones, don't get me wrong, but I actually saw some that I thought, wow, I would not have guessed that. So I'm very optimistic about this upcoming series. So with that being said, how far are we into this? Okay, so I'm going to apologize. The last podcast went really long, and then I thought I had taken breaks and created space for ads, and I just didn't. It was so long. There were so many ads. I think I had one that I had to put someplace that I would rather not have, and I try to keep the number of ads down to a minimum, and they're required to be in the role by the platform that I use. We fortunately we were on a road trip, and that hour and a half podcast kind of filled it up. Went back and listened to it. Excuse me, again. Little pre-Thanksgiving sniffles. Went back and listened to it, and Penn Station, I guess, was the main company I got to listen to. I don't know what your ads were, but my ads were all about Penn Station. And now I feel like I really need to go to Penn Station and get something to eat. That ghost pepper, whatever, really started to call to me. There was a ghost pepper fry. I don't know what it is. But anyway, so. But speaking of ads, hey, it is the holidays, and if you're feeling like maybe you're not, you don't have quite the energy you should have in the afternoon or morning or late at night, you can check out Quantum Energy Squares. I'm going to try not to be too. Maybe I should bring their website up so I know what they're doing. They do have a 25% promotion going on now on their website, and I think that's good on buying things off Amazon too. But every day of the year, you can get 25% off their product by using the code PREDSPRO. PREDSPRO, and it's a nice little square. Fits easily in your cycling jersey, your golf bag, and pretty much anywhere. They're really nice. The size of them is really handy for carrying. Like I said, we've had a number of bars in this household, and some of them are good. Go out on the golf course and then you pull it out and it's all melted. Don't like that. And some are just a little overly sweet for me. So the Quantum Energy Squares is it's a nice complement to those activities. Like I said, it really fits well in your cycling jersey. So looking forward to riding my ankle. I guess I'll wrap this up, but my almost well enough on my ankle that I can ride. It's only been 2 months. So anyway, so with that being done, quantumsquares.com, PREDSPRO is your promo code. All right. So, the previous games, Colorado and Florida. But neither of them were kind of what I was expecting. I thought, Colorado won 3-0, but really 1-0, taking away two empty nets. And we were listening to that game, we were kind of listening to it on the hotel we were in did not have a channel we could watch it, so we were listening and watching it on my phone, and didn't get a sense of how they played. That Florida game we did try to watch, and you just couldn't watch it after a while. It was just brutal. Anyway. So let's go someplace where there's a little bit better news. Hey, our minor league update. Yes, I know it's Wednesday, but I didn't do a podcast on Monday. I know the last podcast had an update, but I was out for a week because we were coming back from Sweden. I didn't come back from Sweden. My friends were coming back from Sweden, so there was nothing to do. Anyway, so over the last week, the Milwaukee who? Admirals, the Milwaukee Admirals, thank you. Split 2 with the Henderson Silver Knights. They were in Henderson, Nevada. They won 4-2 on Friday and lost 1-5 on Saturday. Murray was in goal for both of them. This week, they have 2 at home with a road game between, so they got 3 games. Wednesday, they're at home versus the Iowa Wild. Friday, they're on the road at Rockford. And Saturday, Rockford Ice Hogs come to Milwaukee. Currently, they are tied for second in the Central with 20 points. They are 7 points, 1 game behind the Grand Rapids Griffins. And the team they're tied with, the Manitoba Moose, they are 4 games. They played 4 games less and are -3 on the regulation win column, and breaking the tie for Manitoba. Atlanta, similarly, split 2 games at home. Saturday, 4-2. They beat the Greenville Swamp Rabbits with Hyder in goal. And then Sunday, they lost 2-3 to those South Carolina Stingrays. Symptom Helter. I almost did it. I almost got that out. I like these updates to be 1 line long, and if I spell his name out, that's the whole line. Simp Temp Helter. Simp Temp Helter. This week, they got 3 at home. Wednesday, that's tonight, the South Carolina Stingrays come to town. And then Saturday and Sunday, they play the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. They are currently 3rd in the division with 18 points. They are 3 points in 3 games behind the Florida Everblades and 2 points in 2 games behind the South Carolina Stingrays. So, it's funny looking at the minor league and looking at the number of game differential in the AHL. At some point, the team's got to play more. I mean, I couldn't believe that Grand Rapids Griffins. Oh, that's 7 points. But the Manitoba Moose have played 4 more games. That's wild. Okay. That's your minor league update. And then major transactions, nothing's happening. I think the next major transaction will be Barry Trotz stepping in and anyhow, Brunette is in his 3rd season as the Predators coach. The first year, they qualified for the playoffs with somebody else's team. Since being here, he's taken them down to the bottom. But anyway, all right, segue. I'm looking for a segue. The segue is we've got 2 games coming up, and I am optimistic about these. I shouldn't be. Especially Chicago, since the Preds have a horrible record against Central Division teams this year. We'll get to that later, too. The divisional matchup things I had started working on last year, and I've got my spreadsheet and all of that, and I rarely look at it, and I happened to look at it yesterday, and I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. Of course, when you're losing to everybody, it's a shocker you're losing to everybody, but a team we may not lose to, we're playing tonight, the Detroit Red Wings, 6 o'clock Central. They are second in the Atlantic Division. Not a Red Wings fan. Never really been a Red Wings fan. Just the color of their uniforms throws me off. The red is just yuck. Not as bad as the road jerseys for Philadelphia, but don't like Detroit. Never liked Detroit. No reason to like Detroit, not like Detroit. It's just, why would I like Detroit? No reason to pull for them, no reason to like them. Been to Detroit. They are second in the Atlantic Division with 27 points. They are 13-9-1 at home. They are 8-4-1. They are 6 points ahead of last place Toronto, which, the Eastern Conference is pretty tight. 7 points separating the top and bottom of the Atlantic, 6 points separating the top and bottom of the Metropolitan, which means 9 points separating the top and bottom of the Eastern Conference. That does not the case in the Western Conference. They're 21 points separating Colorado and Nashville in the Central, with the St. Louis Blues having 20 points in and of themselves. 21 points separating the top and bottom of the Colorado of the Central, which is the top and bottom of the Western. So there you go, 21 points. As far as the Pacific Division goes, 10 points between Anaheim and Calgary, who have won their last 3. Go Flames. Anyway, so Detroit is 6 points ahead of last place Toronto. That division, they're just, until something happens, they're just going to be, one team plays. They got 2 teams tied at 26, 2 teams tied at 25, top 28. So, between the top 6 teams, there's 3 points. They've all played, they played Boston's played 24, Montreal 21. So there's a significant number of games between. Civ 3 is pretty significant, I think. And so these guys could just be swapping spots every day based upon who played, who didn't. But today, Detroit is second in the Atlantic. Saturday is the first of 2 at home for them. Friday, they play Tampa Bay. And then, I love, it's a schedule. So Wednesday, here they are playing Nashville. Then they'll wrap up the 2-game homestand by playing Tampa Bay on Friday, which is going to be the front end of a back-to-back, because Saturday they go to Boston. So they'll be home versus Tampa Bay, then go to Boston on Saturday, and then Tuesday Boston comes and plays them. They've kind of got a home and away and home series with Boston coming up. It's a schedule. It's got to have a schedule. You don't know where to go and where to play. As far as Detroit and Nashville, this is the first of 2. They won't see each other again until March 2nd in Nashville. Last year, Detroit did win them all. October 12th, 3-0 in Dallas. All right, there my production staff missed that one. So October 12th, Detroit. No, they didn't play both games. October 12th and October 19th, 3-0 and 5-2. So, Detroit won them both last year. Last year, Detroit missed the playoffs. They were 6th in the Atlantic, 5 points out of the wild card 2 spot. They are missing 2 players. Number 85 left wing Elmer Sodenblom, I think I got that right. Not expected back until the 28th. But hey, Yossi wasn't expected back, and then there he was playing. You just never know about these dates. And then also number 77 defenseman Simon Edvinsson, day-to-day, expected back today. So maybe. You never know. They did call up from the Grand Rapids Griffins. Speaking of the Grand Rapids Griffins, defenseman Eric Gustafsson, number 56, was recalled on the 23rd. And that's all of their changes. For the Chicago Blackhawks, Friday, 7 o'clock Central. They are tied for 5th in the Central Division with 24 points. I thought they were doing better, but Well, I guess they're tied 24 points with the Jets, so it still puts them tied for fifth. But what have they played 22 games. Utah's played 23. Dallas, Minnesota, Utah all played 23. Nashville's only played 22. And but they're tied in the fifth in the Central Division with 24 points. They played one more game and have one less regulation win than Winnipeg. They are 10-8-4, but at home they are 5-4-2. Friday's game is the third of a 4-game homestand. They're currently 0-1. They do play Minnesota tonight, and they'll wrap it all up Sunday with Anaheim. Next up to them. Oh, yeah, next up for them. Oh, yeah, it's a schedule. Next up for them, where am I at? Is a 4-game road trip with 2 consecutive games at LA. And the second being a back-to-back with Anaheim. So, so they'll be at Vegas on Tuesday. Thursday, they'll be at L.A. Saturday, they're still at L.A. Sunday, Anaheim. And then they're back to play the Rangers on Wednesday. But, they got a back-to-back L.A. and Anaheim. And, I'd kind of track back-to-backs, but I only really track how Nashville does, and then if they're playing somebody that's in a back-to-back situation, then I'll kind of catch up on them. I remember, when I'm in LA and pulling for LA, it always seemed like Anaheim always got the back end of a back-to-back. So they always got the teams that were tired, and it's like, well, here we go again, LA and Anaheim. I'm sure it's not like that all the time, but there you go. Anyway. So this is the first of 4 versus Chicago. January 1st, they'll be in Nashville. February 26th, still in Nashville. Probably Chicago will probably go somewhere between there. And then March 22nd, back in Chicago. Last year, Chicago only won one of the 4. That was the third game. October 22nd in Chicago, they lost 2-3. January 16th in Nashville. Both of the Nashville games were extra innings, but we're playing in Chicago tonight. And extra time. And January 16th was a 2-3 shootout that they lost. Then February 7th, they did win in Chicago 6-2. And then March 8th, they lost in overtime 2-3 in Nashville. Last year, Chicago was 8th in the Central Division. They were 9 points ahead of San Jose and 7 behind Nashville. They have 4. Lauren Brossold, right? Okay, 4. The 4 players that are out. Left wing, number 28, Andre Burakovsky, not expected back today, so he might be around by Friday. Number 17, left wing, Nick Foligno. I said that fine in my head, Foligno. Not expected back till the middle of December. And then number 6, defenseman Shea Weber, expected back next year. And then number 39, goalie guard. It's not the NBA. Goalie Laurent Brossold, not expected back till January 1st. No transactions of note. Preds. The Preds are 8th in the Central with 16 points. They are 6-12-4. On the road, they are 1-5-2. They are 4 points in 1 game behind St. Louis, 8 points behind Utah. 93 points. 93. So production said, we're 93 points behind Calgary. We're 3 points down to Calgary, and who's played 2 more games. Calgary has won their last 3. This is a 2-game road trip. Next is a 2-game homestand. Again, the first game of that homestand will be part of a back-to-back, Winnipeg on Saturday, and then we play Calgary on Tuesday. That should be fun. Last year, after 22 games, which was also the 22nd game, also played on November 25th, which would have been yesterday. They were 7-12-3 with 17 points. So last year, same number of games as they've already played this year. they had one more point. So they had one more win and one less overtime loss. That's how that worked out. At home, they were 5-6-0, so they only played 11 games instead of the 13 they played this year. It's the same number of wins. On the road, they were 2-6-3. So they played 11 games on the road at this point. They've only played 8, so they played 3 more. So throw that in the mix, 1-1-1, I guess. So, either way, that you may not want to talk about last season. They may not have wanted to, but hey, when it's the same season, is this Groundhog Day? Groundhog season? Anyway, player update. Yeah, Roman Josi was activated on the 22nd. Yay, good. He's back. Didn't matter as far as the result goes. And then still out, Cole Smith, right wing, number 36, still December 15th. And number 68, left wing, Zachary LaRue. LaRue, I don't know how the announcers pronounce it. Anyway, he's not on the ice, so I can't call his name. Not expected back until the 9th of December. And they called him up and he got injured. So anyway, that's the Preds summary. With that, we head into the statistical area of things. There we go. There's the thing. So what did we get out of going over the last games, which was really bad? They lost Colorado. They lost the first, tied the second, lost the third. It was 2 empty net goals. No, they did not get the first goal. If you lose 2 periods, if you don't win, if you don't win a period, you're not going to win the game. I mean, that's another thing. So they didn't win a period. They did tie the second, which, I'm calling for, but they lost the first by giving up in both of these goals a goal in the first 15 seconds. Enough said. The second goal, they lost the first, they lost the second, they lost the third. They did not get the first goal. Pretty much after they lost the second period, you could pretty much stop watching. They weren't going to win. If you're a Preds fan. Anyway, so that's the tough sledding there. The first goal of the game, the Preds, if they get it, they didn't get it in the last 2, so it's the same as it was. Coin flip. They are 4-2-2. They've gotten the first goal 8 times. They have not gotten the first goal 14 times, and they're 2-10-2 in those circumstances. And let me see if I've got my spreadsheet. This spreadsheet still. Last year they were getting the first goal a little bit more. They were 4-4-2 after 22 games. It was still kind of a coin flip, but they had gotten it more. And then if they didn't get it, 3-8-1. So it was a little bit more of I don't know how to put it. A little bit more even, I guess. The 2-10-2 when they don't get it. Too much of an indicator right there. The 2 times that they've won the game with not getting the first goal being the outliers, the exception to prove the rule, right? On the road, again, we still don't really have that many stats, but let's just cover them to begin with. They're 1-0-1 when they get it, and all of those have been in the second period. Second period overall on the road, when the first goal happens in the second period, they're 1-1-1. So the opposition's only gotten the first goal in the second period on the road in the second period once. So overall, they're 0-5-1 when they don't get it, 0-4-1 when it happens in the first period. So, that's, what are you going to say? They've only won 1 game, so, on the road. So the road stats, everything's going to be weighted towards that, which, okay, yeah. Winning by period. There is no winning by period. There's losing by period. It's easier to. I need to take these numbers and put them next to the correlations because what I like to do is to take the correlation between winning the period and winning the game or not, and I think that's the relevant stat there. The Preds didn't in the last 2 games didn't win any period, so they did lose the first period in both of them. So now they're 3-8-11 in the first period. So a coin flip on whether they'll tie it or not, basically. And the second period, 4-9-9. I don't know what to say about that. And 7-14-1 in the third. So they're 2-1 likely to lose the third period. On the road. Let's see if there's anything bright to talk about on the road. On the road, they're 0-5-3 in the first period. Let's see, 2-2-4 in the second. So at least there's two wins, 4 ties, and then they have not tied the third period on the road. They're 3-5-0. Well, at least there's a couple of wins in there. How does that correlate? Let's see. How does that correlate? Just looking at the road stats. Again, that's not that many, but it's not any. The scene is not any brighter talking about the overall. So why not just slip right in? How does it correlate? Well, they haven't won the first period, so. So when they win the first period, we'll be shocked. The 5 times that they've lost the first period, they've lost all of those games because they've lost them all. Is this really going to be that interesting? All right, they won 1 game. How did they win it? When did they win it? Because it's going to be that one. Okay, so in the game that they won, apparently they tied the first period. So they've tied the first period 3 times, and so they're 1-2. The second period they won. They won the second period, and that's only happened twice, so they're 1-1. Everything else is a loss. I mean, it doesn't matter. Well, everything else is a loss. And so then the third period, they won the third period. So they're 1-2 when they win the third period. So obviously they must have won the second and third period, so they won 2 periods on the road, and that's the game that they won. So that's awesome. Great. Sorry, I'm not to the positive news yet. I am not to the positive news, but just in case, let me take a quick break or try to take a break. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but give me an opportunity to put an ad here in case I need it. Because the next up is the goal scoring. Okay, so on the road, the Preds have only gotten 1 goal in the first period, so they're outscored 1-10 in the first period. The second period is not as bad. They're being outscored 6-8. They're outscored by 2, and the same in the third period, 10-12. I really need to make a little bit more sense of. I get kind of stuff all over the place here, and I need to clean this spreadsheet up so it's easier to read. That or take better notes. Win, lose, and tie. Well, yeah, that's not interesting. Yeah. The 1 game they won. There's only one data point for when they won. So the goal scoring in the second and thirds don't look too bad from the overall standpoint on the road, but that first, and we will get to this later because it is the road stat. 1 goal on the road in 8 games in the first period. 1 goal in 8 games. 1 goal in 8 games in the first period. Okay, so all right, let's just do this. Let's skip forward a little bit, and then we'll come back. But just for grins, on the road. Here we go. On the road, the first period. Well, the Preds have had 6. Oh my goodness gracious, 6 power play opportunities in 8 games in the first period, and they've got a goal. So there you go. The Preds on the road have 1 goal in 8 games, and it was on the power play, for goodness sakes. Was it it might have even been a 5-on-3. Huh. Hum. Some data. I'm not going to be able to find that. I'm not going to be able to find that quick. So let's just move on. But yeah, the one goal they scored in the first period was on a power play. For one goal in 8 games on the road, and it was a power play goal. All right. So, and yeah, okay, I am going to do this. I am going to do this because I'm just a little on the frustrated side here. So who have we played on? Who have we played on the road? We played Ottawa. Ottawa is a team that it was the 3rd game of the year. Ottawa is a team that we beat. The Rangers is the one goal that we got was on the Rangers. So that was the 18th. So I think maybe I can find this better now. But the 18th game, the Preds got a minor penalty, a 5-4 in the first period. Took them a minute and a half to do it. Okay. So there you go. So we played Ottawa. We beat Ottawa. We lost to Toronto, Montreal, Winnipeg, Philadelphia, Minnesota. Okay. Well, wait a minute here. Let me take a quick look because those sound like they're pretty decent teams, right? I'd buy that maybe we just happened to run into some pretty good teams. But what have we got? We got Ottawa, which Ottawa's 3rd in the Atlantic, so that was no slouch beating them. Toronto is last in the Atlantic, but that's they're 9-10-3. They're 8-4-3 at home. Montreal, they're fifth in the Atlantic, again in the Atlantic. Winnipeg's a good team. Hellebuck is out for 4 to 6 weeks. So that's awful. Winnipeg 5th. Philadelphia. Well, where's Philadelphia? They're 6th. Then Minnesota 3rd. And then the Rangers. We were never going to win that game because the Rangers hadn't won one at home. And it was just time. But yeah, so I would say that no, they did not run into a bunch of teams that were just really good all in a row and played them all on the road. Something else is going on. But there's that. There's the goal scoring. The first period goal scoring atrocious. Last year at this point, okay, well, here we go. Last year at this point, they had played 11 road games, but they had 5 goals in the first and 5 to 8. So that's definitely better. Anyway, so that's goal scoring. Let's get back to this year and 25-26. The winning goal being scored, I can tell you it's being scored by the opposition. But it's equally spread. And on the road, 8 times and 2 in each of the first, second, third, and overtime. So right now, it's pretty even that way. If we want to take a look at the home and road wins for the Preds, there have been 12 home wins and 10 road wins. 2 more road wins because the road team came in and won. So the winning goal the other night, let's see, they both happened didn't it happen with the Florida? The winning goal was scored in the first period, because it was 8-3 and they got 4 in the first. So the last 2 games, the winning goal was both scored in the first period. And so that's as far as the road team getting it in the first period, there's only 2 data points, and that was the last 2 games. 4 times, 4 out of the 10, 40% the third period. And then as far as when the home team gets the winning goal, it's pretty evenly spread, 25% in both the first, third, and overtime. And then twice in the second and once in a shootout. So there's no real clear data yet in Preds games for when the home team or the road team will win. It's still, pretty evenly distributed. Overall, it's the same right now, 32% the third period with 7 data points, and then the first and overtime actually are second most with 23%. So, yeah, this season's looking like it's going to be the the third period, which, if I remember correctly, is what last year overall wound up being, which is a little on the disappointing side of things. But overall, no, overall it was the second period. It was the second period. And the home and away stats was pretty even second period. Yeah, last year's second period. Pretty much the road team was winning 42% of the time, getting the winning goal in the second period. The home team 33% in the second period. So the year before that, when the Preds were good, it was interesting because the home team was getting the winning goal in the second period, the visiting team in the third, or vice versa, one or the other. I don't remember. I don't have that spreadsheet to bring up, but that's your winning goals. As far as the matchups go, okay, so this is where I am looking at the whole situational. So goals for, goals against. Detroit has played 13 games at home. Chicago's played 11 at home, and Nashville has played 8. So I did note this somewhere. The thing that's kind of interesting, the Preds have played 8. That's comparing them, and all of their stats, they're going to be compared because one team has played 7 and the most is 16. So it's pretty wide variance on the number of road games. Home games also wide variance, 9 to 15, right? So their rank in the league is not necessarily because they're better or worse on a percentage basis, is what it's looking at. And so, I guess that's when we come to the penalty kills. But as far as goals for, goals against, could be different because they played more games at home or on the road. Now, Nashville's last in the league in scoring on the road, and they're last in the number of games that they played, one of the bottom teams. So there are a lot of teams that have played a lot more games. So just saying that they're 17th doesn't necessarily encapsulate the whole thing. The fact that they've only scored one goal, and that now they're last in the league, having only scored one goal in the first period. Now that there's nothing you could say to make that better, because they played 8 games less, but they've scored one goal in 8 games. I mean, Detroit, having played 13 games, is next to last in the first period in scoring. They're 29th with 5 goals. Chicago's 21st in the league with 9, and that's scoring at home. Detroit does bounces way up in the second period. They scored 21 goals. They have scored 21 goals in 13 games in the second. So they really seem to be able to pour it on. And then they back it off again in the third. So they've gotten 5 in the first, 21 in the second, and 15 in the third. And then the Chicago is still in the bottom in the first and second, and then comes up to the middle in the third. So they've scored 9 in the first, 7 in the second, and 13 in the third. And over the season, over the NHL teams, the scoring tends to go up from period to period. And here, Chicago, not a prolific scoring team in the first, drops. And this is at home. So they're not at home. They have not proven themselves. So they've played 11 games at home. They've scored 7 goals. The Preds have scored 6 goals in the second period for 8 periods. So this is where you start looking at the percentages. So from that standpoint, the Preds score about 0.75 goals a game in the second period to Chicago's 0.64. And then Detroit, a whopping 1.62 in the second period. The Preds, 1.3 or 0.13 goals in the first period to Chicago's 0.8 and Detroit's 0.3. So, it looks like Chicago is more likely to score in the third period and not so likely to score in the second, and who knows in the first. But Detroit, not a team, tonight's opponent, not a team that looks like they're going to score in the first period, which, the Preds are 14th in the league in goals against. Now, again, they've only played eight. They've given up 1.25 goals in the first period. Now, Chicago won. 1 goal in the second period. Chicago has given up 1 goal in the second period in 11 games at home. 1. So fortunately, it's the second period, not the first. But, so they're not – the second period with Chicago is not a scoring period. So total, there have been 8 goals scored in the second period in Chicago's 11 games. So if you get a goal in Chicago in the second period, right now anyway, take it home and mount it on the wall. So the Preds, 14th in the league in scoring or being scored against. Now again, they've only played 8. So this is where it looks a little, it looks better, it sounds better than it is. Because they give up 1.25 goals against in the first to Chicago's 0.09 and Detroit's 1.08. So Chicago's given up 14 goals in 13 games. And so it's have to say the goals against with Detroit and Nashville is fairly equal. And goals for, 5 and 1. So neither tonight for tonight's game, neither team really looks like they score a lot in the first in this particular scenario, but they give up about a goal a game. Both teams give up a goal a game, but they don't score it. So it's hard to say. It's going to be very competitive. The second period, Detroit is way more likely to score. So tonight's opponent, way more likely to score. Chicago just pretty much stick a fork in scoring in the second period. Or is that no? Oh, no. Take that back. They are 13th. That was the first period. The first period. In the first period, not goals against 1. So, but they're not big on scoring. So that might actually be Nashville's best chance. Chicago's actually getting a goal in the first period. I kind of would believe that. And then, so then moving on from what? I don't know. All 3 of these teams are similar in goals against in the third, or goals for in the third. Detroit 1.15, Chicago 1.18, Nashville 1.25. So the goal scoring for all of these is very similar. And the goals against for Detroit and Chicago, about the same 1. 1 for Detroit, 0.91 in the third, and then the Preds 1.5. The Preds are 16th in the league with giving up 12 goals, but again, that's only on 8 games. So they're giving up 1.5 goals a game. That's their highest number. So they are more likely to give up goals in the third period than other periods. 1.25 in the first, 1 in the second. And they're, not likely to score so much in the first, and their scoring is up in the third about 1.25. Is that right? 10 goals in the third. So 1.25. Actually, the Preds, of these 3 teams, the Preds have the best goals per game average. That's a positive. That's a positive there. They're 1.25, but it looks like, everybody's going to score. All the teams are going to score in the third period. Chicago, Detroit is probably going to score in the second period. 1.62. They've got the scoring down in the second period is what that looks like to me. That's their highest, and it's the highest across the board. 1.62. So they're scoring in the second period, and the Preds being scored against in the third are the 2 things that are the highest. And then, unfortunately, the next highest is the Preds being scored against in the first. But then again, the Preds be scoring in the third. So Yeah. Yeah. So, Detroit likes to score in the second and third period. They don't like to score in the first. And then Chicago is tough to get a goal against in the first. On average, what is on average 3.31 goals for? Wow, is that right? Oh yeah, Detroit the same number of goals for and goals against 43. So overall, 3.31 goals for, 3.31 goals against for Detroit. Chicago 2.73 goals for, 2.27 goals against. So they have more goals, and then the Preds 2.13 goals for, but 4 goals against. And so, the Preds are on the road. As far as special teams go, again, the thing that's interesting here is the variance, and so rankings. The rankings are relative. The penalty kill, Detroit is 23rd in the league at 75%, 9 goals on 37 opportunities. They haven't scored a shorthanded goal, and they are 5th in the league in scoring with the 9th most opportunities. So at home, they are one of the teams that commits a lot of penalties, and so 5th and then 5th in goal scoring. So that's not the ratio. So it looks like they are more likely to give up a goal on the power play, on the penalty kill, than not. Chicago's 7th in the league in penalty kill at home, 6 goals on 45 attempts. They are tops. They do have a shorthanded goal, but they are tops in the league in opportunities at home. Again, that's with 11 games. So that's 11 games. So as far as number of times on the penalty kill, having played 11 games with ranges at home being 9 to 15, so they are on the lower end of number of games played, and they have committed the most penalties at home. They've been on the power play, maybe not most penalties, but they have been on the penalty kill the most of any team. I think we're going to see some penalties in that game. And then 16th on goal scoring. So I guess that couldn't be any other way. I mean, at first, but they're middle of the league in being scored on. So their power penalty kill must be pretty good. 6 goals on 45, so an 86%. Let's say that's respectable. So they talk about committing too many penalties. They're committing too many penalties at home. As far as Nashville on the road, they are near the bottom, 31st, 63.2%, having given up 7 goals on 19 opportunities. So given that Chicago has had more than twice the number of opportunities the Preds have given up, 1 more goal. So that's awful. But they are 32nd in the league and number of opportunities on the road. And again, they played 8 games, and the range is 7 to 16, so they haven't had as many games on the road. And then 19th in giving up goals, so 32nd in opportunities and 19th in scoring against. So even though the percentage is pretty bad, I guess it could be worse. A penalty kill for the Preds on the road, not that great. Chicago penalty kill is okay, but they're doing it too much. And then Detroit pretty much middle of the road on their penalty kill. Power play, none of these teams really exemplary on the power play. Detroit is 20%, 8 goals on 40 opportunities. Chicago 6 on 32. The Preds have scored 3 on 26. We know the Preds' opportunities are bad. As far as where they're at in the league on opportunities, Detroit is 12th, Chicago is 23rd, and Nashville is 27th. And I think you can pretty much rank that up to how many games they played. 13, 11, and 8. And so, that's that's why they fall where they're at and with opportunities. As far as goal scoring, Detroit is pretty even. They are 11th in scoring goals, 12th on opportunities. So that's kind of the ratio you'd prefer. And Chicago 22nd in goal scoring to 23rd in opportunities. So again, that's not too bad. The Preds 31st in goals on 27th on opportunities. The differential there is not too bad. Not too bad. They're just, maybe their problem is they just haven't had enough opportunities on the power play on the road. But yeah. This is the next segment I'm considering dropping. I'm not sure why I'm doing this. I like to do it. I like to know. Maybe the parts I like about this is what they did last year, but in general, talking about the goaltenders, I'm not sure why I bother. I might just get rid of this and tighten this end up a little bit. But we got it, so let's do it. Detroit, 2 goaltenders, John Gibson, and Cam Talbot. Cam Talbot 9-3-0, Gibson 4-6-1. They're playing about the same number of games. Last year, they haven't played any this year. Last year, they played the second and fifth games of the year, and the Preds lost the first 5, so obviously they lost all 5 of those. So Detroit played Nashville in the second and fifth game and then played the Rangers for the third and fourth game. So in 4 games, they played 2 teams. Both were home and away, or away and home. Talbot was in goal in the first one on October 12th in Detroit, and Detroit lost the games on either side of that one. And then Leon was in goal in the second one on October 19th, a 5-2 win in Nashville. It was the first of a 3-game winning streak. Talbot's been in goal for the last 2, so I just expect Gibson in goal tonight versus Nashville. As far as Chicago goes, Spencer Knight is 7-5-3. Arvid Soderblom 3-3-1. Last year, Mrazek was in the first and third, both of those in Chicago, and he was 1-1, losing 2-3 on October 25th, winning 6-2 on February 7th. The first game was the third game of a 4-game losing streak. In the third game, they had lost 3 coming in, lost 5 after, but won that one. So they were 1-8 in that 9-game streak, with the Preds being their win. Soderblom was in goal for the second and fourth. So those were both losses. January 16th, a 2-3 shootout loss in Nashville and a 2-3 overtime loss in Nashville. The second game was the last of a 4-game losing streak. They did win 1 game after, then lost more. Fourth game, they won the previous game, and this game that they lost was the first of a 7-game losing streak. Knight is playing about 2 to Soderblom's 1, except when they're in the back situation. I expect Knight versus Minnesota. That would be tonight, and so Soderblom versus Nashville on Friday. For the Predators, we've got Saros and Annunen. Last year versus Detroit, Saros was in both. The second and fifth games of the season's initial 5-game losing streak. Against Chicago, Saros was in the first 3, so he went 2-1. The first game was the second of a 3-game winning streak, which did happen after the initial 5-game losing streak, so early in the season. The second was a second of a 5-game winning streak. And then the third game was the 6th of a 6-game losing streak. Annunen in goal for the 4th game, 3-2 overtime win in Nashville. It was the third of a 4-game winning streak. Saros was in the last 5, 2 since Sweden. Chicago and Winnipeg, Friday, Saturday, are back-to-back, so Annunen will get it. So Saros will be in goal, I believe, against both Detroit and Chicago, and so Annunen versus Winnipeg. Players to watch for Detroit at home. Now, this was someplace, again, I definitely picked it up for the Preds. I don't know. I didn't look at the overall for for Detroit and Chicago, but I did see it's different. It's a different situation if we just look at road stuff for the Preds. I think this is going to be really interesting. I think probably more relevant. So at home, the guy primarily to look out for is number 71 center Dylan Larkin. He's first on the team with 8 goals, first in points with 15, fourth time on ice. So he's the forward that's on the ice the most, and he's second in shots with 45. The next person, number 93 right wing Alex DeBrincat, second in goals with 6, second in assists with 8, second in points, first in shots. You got number 23 left wing Lucas Raymond, who's first on the team in assists with 9, and then number 53 defenseman Moritz Seider is first on the team on time on ice with 24-29. So 71-93, I guess, are the primarily ones. They have played. So I guess it says goals is 11, assists 15. So the overall goals is 11, assists are 15, points 23. So Larkin has 8 goals at home, and the most is 11. I did not note who has that. The other thing to note about Detroit is number 77, defenseman Simon Edvinsson. He's tied for second in the NHL in penalties in minutes, with 30 at home. 32 is tops. 77 takes a lot of penalties in Detroit. That's something else to look forward to. So 71, 93, and 77. For Chicago, Vlasic, but that was Marc-Andre Vlasic, that played for San Jose all those years. This could be related. This guy could be related. But anyway, so for Chicago at home, number 98 center Connor Bedard, first in goals with 9, first in points with 11, and he's second time on ice, second. So he's going to be on the ice quite a bit. It's going to be easy. He's time on ice with 21-24, first in shooting with 41. He's fourth on the team in shooting percentage at 22. So at home, he's first in goals, first in shots, and it's got a 22% shooting percentage. So number 98, make sure to pay attention when 98's got the puck. Tops in assists is number 91 center Frank Nazar. So he's tops on assists with 6. And that gives him 8 points, so he's second on the team with 8. And then Vlasic, number 72, defenseman Alex Vlasic, first in time on ice in 21-43. Say that Bedard is fourth because the first 3 have they've got the tops is guys got 1 goal on 2 shots, and then second. Tied for second are 2 guys with 1 goal on 3 shots. So it's hard to count that, but 22% shooting percentage on 41 shots. So that's worth noting. So 98, number 98. I guess that's pretty much it. Number 98 is the most dangerous man on the ice for Chicago. For your Nashville Predators, Let's just get into it. Matthew Wood, number 71 right wing, first in goals, first in points. It's not a lot, only 8 games, but he's got 5 goals. Of course, he had a hat trick and 1 goal. That helps. 33% shooting percentage. It's tops on the team. They only went over 20% on the road. Number 71, Matthew Wood. You go, guy. 15 shots, 5 goals. Remember my comment on him from training camp was that he had a wicked shot. Primarily when he's close. I don't, saw him practicing some slap shots. Didn't look like he was generating a lot of speed. He's working with O'Reilly and Forsberg. So from out around the point, didn't look like he had a lot, but it seems like he's really, he can lift. I guess he probably is able to lift the puck like nobody's business. He's dangerous when he's close in. That was what I thought. Now, okay, so that's first. Okay, so it's got to be their usual suspects. Yeah, next, yeah? No. Tied for second in points, also tied for first in assists. Assists with 3, points with 4. Number 56 left wing Erik Haula and number 58 left wing Michael Bunting. So there you go, 71, 56, 58. Yossi's back. His main stats, time on ice. Forsberg does get the most time on ice of a forward here on the road. Overall, it is O'Reilly, but on the road, it's Forsberg. And then he's first in shots with 20. He has no goals on the road. Stamkos, he's second in shots with 18. He's got 2 goals and assist. He's only got 3 and 1 anyway, so most of those 3 were all on the road. And then Marcia Schultz is tied second in shots, but also 2 goals, 1 assist. So, so there you go. It's not your normal, people to look for. So Wood, Haula, and Bunting. On the road. Now, second in goals, I did call that out. There are 2. Second in goals is 2. Wood has 5. Second is 2. So I guess technically Stamkos is tied for second on the team. Marcia Schultz as well for second on the team in goal scoring on the road with 2. Perbix, Marcia Schultz, and Stamkos all have 2. And then 4 people are tied at 3. So they're actually, for first with assists, there are actually 4 people with 3. So not just Haula and Bunting, but Evangelista and Sky. So there you go. As far as momentum goes, Detroit at home, 8-4-1. They did lose their last game, which was away. They are 2-1-0 in their last 3 home games, which was their last homestand. Chicago home are 5-4-2. They have a 3-game losing streak. They do play tonight, and they were 2-1. One of those was a home game in the 3-game home losing streak, and then in their last homestand they were 2-1-1. And so then Nashville on the road is 1-5-2. They have a 3-game losing streak. They lost their last road game, which was a single home. The homestand was a single game. The Rangers, I think that's how it has gone. They played, 8 games? They did have 4 across Canada, and then they play in onesies here and there on the road. So 2 on the road. The Preds versus the Central Division is 0-4-2 against the Atlantic 1-3-1. I am actually encouraged, since I've now gone back and kind of taken a look at things from a home and road perspective. I think the Preds, could come out with 2 wins here. It's kind of hard to believe, but I don't think the stats are. The rankings all look awful, but it's primarily because the Preds haven't played that many road games. And, which gets back again to one of the things that bothered me about the announcers. Oh, they were lamenting how many games the Preds had played. Oh, they played so many games in so many short days. Oh, woe is us. It was all at home. No travel. Mostly at home. Mostly no travel. Anyway, so yeah, I think I wouldn't say Colorado looked like a buzzsaw coming in here, but when you took a look at their road statistics, they didn't look as so much of a buzzsaw coming to town. So I think this is looking good for the Preds. I really do. I think the Detroit game is going to be tough. Chicago, it's going to be hard to score in the second period. But yeah, I think this is looking pretty good. I think the Preds have a decent chance at coming away with 2 wins. Detroit might be overtime. Might be an overtime win with Detroit tonight, but Chicago regular time. But I think that's pretty good. I wish I had somebody writing down these predictions, because I'd really like to remember them later. Like I said, this is all extemporaneous, so I don't have any idea what I'm going to say sometimes. I got stuff written down in the script, but But that just tells me where to go. Anyway, hey, that's it. Two games for the Preds on the road tonight in Detroit against the Red Wings, and then Chicago Blackhawks. Ooh, go to Uno's and get some pizza. I'm hungry already just thinking about it. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm Preston Proctor, and you've been listening to Predators Proclivity.